thank you. Much more coming up on the Ferry disaster in South Korea, including charges of abandoning ship filed against the captain, an expert in maritime law, will join us with some legal insight. Welcome back. I'm Wolf Blitzer reporting from Washington. At least 87 bodies have now been recovered so far from the sunken ferry off the coast of South Korea. Another 215 people are missing, most of them high school teenagers who had been on a class trip. The captain and 6 crew members now face serious criminal charges in the disaster. The captain ignited public fury by being among the 174 people rescued before the ship sank. Even South Korea's president lashed out, basically calling them killers.
선장과
First and foremost, the actions of the captain and some of the crew are absolutely unacceptable, unforgivable actions that are akin to murder.
Trial attorney Jack Hickey is joining us now. He's an expert in the law of the seas. He's joining us from Miami. Jack, thanks very much for coming in. Is it premature to charge the captain and these crew members with these crimes, effectively charging them of murder based on what we know?
Well, you know, Wolf, I don't know if it's premature. Certainly, we see here a series, not just one lapse or failure, but we see here a series or a chain of failures, one after the other, which contributed or really caused this disaster. First of all, you know, the captain was not on the bridge at the time of the event. I'm not so sure whether that was a horrible thing or a bad thing. Because the captain does not always have to be on the bridge, but certainly if it's in a navigationally sensitive time of the navigation of the vessel, he should be. Secondly, the miscommunication to the passengers about stay in place. And thirdly, what people have not really talked about is the fact that he had 45 life rafts and failed to get them to the life rafts at all. At the time he was talking about stay in place, he should have been talking about get to your muster stations, get to your life rafts. And then, of course, the vessel is completely in peril. It's listing, by all accounts, early on 10 degrees, which is a very significant list or tilt off of center to the port, actually, in this case. And at that time, you know, the vessel goes into a disaster situation. And as you say, and as you point out, he got off the vessel long before other passengers got off, which that in and of itself, even though it's technically, let's say in the United States and under international convention, technically is not, that in and of itself is not a crime. Certainly it is a complete dereliction of duty, because how can you supervise the passengers and the crew members if you're not on the vessel and at that critical point in time?
Because we saw the Costa Concordia, you remember, the captain, he fled while others were still stuck on that ship. In this particular case, the same thing. Maybe 1 or 2 of those lifeboats were used. He got out, okay, but so many others remained on the ship. There used to be a tradition, the captain is the last one to leave, right?
Yes, there is a tradition, and in fact, it dates back to the 1850s with a particular incident where the captain and his crew assisted women and children off, and then the captain and crew went down with the vessel. But it's more than just romantic lore, because, you know, the captain is the master of the vessel. Under any international convention and understanding, the captain is the master and in charge of the safety of every passenger, every crew member, the cargo, and the vessel itself. How can the captain supervise and be in charge of the safety at a critical time, if he, the captain, is not on that vessel? He has to be on that vessel and should have been in this situation. Just as, and you bring up a very good point about the Costa Concordia, a lot of parallels to be drawn here.
Because usually if you got 40 lifeboats, 40 plus lifeboats, you see what's going on. Don't you begin the process of evacuation? You get those kids on those lifeboats right away?
Yes, and in fact, and you bring up a really good point, there were no lifeboats on this vessel. There were only life rafts. And life rafts require a certain amount of time to A, get to, and B, to unattach them, detach them from the vessel, and to get them into the water and then get the passengers into the water. A little bit more time than a lifeboat. So yes, timing was critical here, and he really blew it. I mean, by all accounts, he absolutely blew it by not initiating the course of action to get the life rafts out and to get the life rafts into the water and the passengers into those rafts.
And so many of those kids and others are still missing right now. Jack Hickey, thanks for that explanation. We appreciate your joining us.
Thank you.